Hello my fellow readers, in this video I'm going to do a third If You Like Then Try. Here's why. This is the video series where I take a manga and I recommend a book if you like said manga, or you can do the reverse, and if you like that book or author you could always try the manga that I recommend. The first book is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to say that if you like My Hero Academia and you like that teenage superpowers, gonna try to save the world, still in school, a whole universal thing, then I think that you should try TJ Klune's The Extraordinaries. So this is a YA from TJ Klune that came out a couple years ago, I think 2020 this one was released, and then the second book, Flashfire, came out in 2021. There's probably going to be a third one this year. I didn't look that up, but yeah, I don't think these are done yet. This appears to be a series, but The Extraordinaries is a town, city, where there are people with superpowers, and they save the world. And our young hero, Nick, loves superheroes. He actually writes fan fiction about the superheroes, and desperately wants to be a superhero, but he appears to be just a normal kid. Nick is a great, funny character, but just great representation all around, like the way his mind works. I think he has been diagnosed with ADHD, which I believe TJ Klune has. He is gay, so this is a queer love story. I mean, it's not really a love story, but there is those feelings in it, which all relates back to the fan fiction. It's done in a really humorous, lighthearted way, but it's just charming, but also a lot of fun with the whole superhero angle. There is, of course, the fights and battles, the way that you would expect from a superhero show, but since it's YA, it's done just fun. And so I think that, you know, you get that same kind of humor blend, teenage angst, although this is great if you enjoy, it's gonna sound weird, if you enjoy My Hero, like doujinshi, maybe pick this up. But just super fun. These are super fun superhero stories, and it's just good. These are super quick to read too, because the writing is just so light and fun. You'll find yourself flying through. Plus, just the storyline is good as well. The whole quest for, you know, maybe discovering who the superheroes are and what's going on in the city. It's worth it. This is a really good story. I've enjoyed it so far. Number 2, a series that I've talked about, and that's Anonymous Noise. If you enjoy Anonymous Noise and the band interactions, but also the high drama, the characterizations, the feelings of loss and recovering from said loss, then you might want to try The Midnights. This is a book I picked up fairly recently and finished. While I prefer Anonymous Noise, if you are looking for something that is more just a narrative novel form, then The Midnights might hit your interest a little bit. Our main character here, she is a writer of songs, and I mean, her father was a musician, so she's grown up with it. She's lacking kind of the courage to put her songs out there, but she's very close to her father, and she actually has a song of her father's that she wants to cover, but she's lacking that kind of belief in herself to do it, and then her father tragically dies. And we see her trying to deal with that loss and almost discover like who her father was, why his band broke up, all these little pieces. At the same time, she's just dealing with drama in her own life, but she does end up running into this band that currently exists and sharing her lyrics and songs with one of the main songwriters for that band, and suddenly just finds herself swept up in their kind of touring world. She ends up, it's not really touring, it's not like as glamorous as a full band, it's more like a local band tour, so they go to more local places and perform, and she finds herself just going into that. She's very attracted to the person that she is co-writing with. There's actually a lot of people that she's like drawn to. She's a very interesting character that maybe I mean, if she was a real person, would just have needed a moment to breathe, because I think a lot of her actions were reactionary based on how she was feeling after the loss of her dad. But she is drawn to this guy, and it's kind of like seeing how that works out and how her music plays out, because she essentially gives her song that she loves and wrote to this band, and is she even really a part of the band? But really good. I like the drama here. In part, she was both kind of a Yuzuru character, but also the Alice/Nina character, because, you know, she has these, like, she's not even like a love triangle, but it is sort of like a love triangle. Like, who should she end up with? She was a little bit more messy than Alice, but there was that loss sub-story and how that impacts people the same as Yuzuru with her. So, might want to try this. Next. Now, this is a classic, and, well, I mean, I would say it's a classic now, and maybe you don't have an opportunity to read this, because I can't remember if it's available digitally. It's definitely out of print, but it is Mars, and Mars tells the story of a girl who is an artist, and there's a lot of other backstory there about stuff that's happened to her and how that's impacted her, but she ends up running into her schoolmate. I'm pretty sure he goes to the same school. And they're like total opposites. He's more outgoing and he models. And one day she just asks him if like he would model for her. It's a whole thing. It's been a while since I read this. Actually would love to do a reread. But I remember when I did read it, I was just totally swept away in this story, the high drama, the emotional impact of like their backstories and what happened to them and what led them to relate to one another. And this time, this excellent series. I would say if you can find Mars, either digitally or in print, which again, it's out of print, so you may have to like find it on eBay or one of the second sellers. But this is well worth a read if you do see it. If you enjoy, you know, more relationship fiction, drama, enjoy Mars. And if you do like Mars, then you might want to try I'll Give You the Sun. This is about siblings, and they used to be so close, and they're actually more than siblings, they're twins. They used to be super close. Something happened so that they seem distant. You follow like kind of two parallel story lines, one detailing like what happened in the past and the other like more current. Art is a big major piece of this story. This was a Stonewall Honor book. There is different representation in this book. And, oh, what else? I forgot. It also won, did it win? I'm pretty sure it did win the Prins Award for excellence in young adult literature. So this is YA, YA contemporary. Really great. But if you love that art vibe and the drama, the relationship interactions and messiness, then I'll Give You the Sun a try. Or if you have already read I'll Give You the Sun and you want kind of a manga that has similar vibes, then try to find Mars. This is such a good work. I love it so much. Also, this had kind of its own unique art style. There was another series as well that was released. I never got to get it, but that was by this artist. I kind of kick myself over that because now like any of these Tokyo Pop ones are out of print and I wish they'd get relicensed, but that's one of those things. But I feel like a lot of these classic ones deserve a second chance and another read. And this one, again, award-winning book. It's just super great. Highly recommend. So next I'm pulling out the big guns, or two series that are huge in their unique fields, I guess you would say, although they also belong in the same field. But I'm going to say, if you love Fullmetal Alchemist, the elaborate world building, interrelated storylines, just great storytelling with the fantasy, the different kind of abilities that people have, and the epicness of Fullmetal Alchemist, then I think that you should give, this is a heavy book, you should give Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive a try. Great characters, character development, world building, the fantastical magic system that is in this series. I just think this would be highly enjoyed by those who like Fullmetal Alchemist. Yes, this is a big, chunky read, so be prepared for that, especially the first book. It's setting the story, the whole world of the story, so it can be a lot to get into, so pace yourself, but it's so worth it. This series is so good. I love it so much. I'm a huge fan. The fourth book in the series was released, I believe the end of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I think it was the end of 2020. And it's just so good. There will be more books to come. I think the fifth book in the series will end this first half, and then the planned following books will be like a secondary one. And if you've ever read Brandon Sanderson, that happens in a lot of the series. Mistborn is another great one to get into, but I definitely think that if you like that world building, character development, storytelling that exists in Fullmetal Alchemist, and really, I mean, Arakawa is great at that in general, then I think that you would enjoy Brandon Sanderson, and specifically the Stormlight Archive. Or if you've really enjoyed the Stormlight Archive, then you might want to have your manga companion with Fullmetal Alchemist, which is just great, and it's a classic now. Yeah. This makes me happy when I see this. This is the beautiful hardcover edition, and well worth it if you want to invest. And finally, going back to some shoujo relationship fiction, and that would be, if you enjoy Io Sakisaka, the character development, interpersonal relationships, all that good stuff that exists in contemporary stories, like Love Me, Love Me Not, then I think that you would enjoy the contemporary works of Brigid Kemmerer. So this one is Call It What You Want. There are actually other companion books to this one. They are not sequels, but they're companions where characters might appear in the different books. And those include Letters to the Lost and More Than We Can Tell. I enjoyed all of them. I liked that they interconnected with one another. Brigid has really become more well-known now for the Cursebreaker series that started with A Curse So Dark and Lonely. But I think that these YA contemporaries were actually better than A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I did enjoy that fantasy series. It's good. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast that, well, there's a lot more to it after that. Like, it was based on Beauty and the Beast, but the story is much bigger. And I did like it, but I do think that these YA works were actually better. And if you do enjoy the, relationship fiction, interpersonal relations among different characters, and also more of, I don't want to say dramatic, but the more involved backstory of characters that makes them more believable, then you should try these books. Her characters definitely have had experiences that make them fuller, more believable characters. And so yes, I would highly recommend Brigid Kemmerer if you enjoy Io Sakisaka, and also the other way around. If you like Brigid Kemmerer's YA contemporaries, then you should try Io Sakisaka. Very good, very much on par. One other author I would potentially put in there as well if you like Io Sakisaka is Jen Bennett. But I would say that there's more backstory and emotional impact with Brigid Kemmerer's characters than with Jen Bennett. But Jen Bennett's great if you enjoy contemporary shoujo work, then, like the school life, then you probably enjoy a lot of Jen Bennett's. So that wraps up another If You Like Then Try, Here's Why. Hopefully you have discovered some manga or books or both that you want to give a read. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye.